Leave meeting.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Meeting Protocol Monthly Podcast, where we chat with the coolest people in the business and bring you useful and relevant information about what's happening in the world of meeting planning. I am Dora Figueredo, the head of events and education at Meeting Protocol, coming to you as every month from my living room here in New Jersey. A lot of our listeners have worked on festivals, but probably not many of them have worked on a festival that happens every other week for 6 months straight. Like, just thinking about that exhausts me. It's a pretty intense amount of work, but bringing people this often is excellent for what many event planners strive to do, which is create community. I think so many folks in the industry, they know how to put on like a cool and a fun event, but not necessarily create the community that's needed to keep people coming back and to like keep people wanting to meet up with each other every time they come back. And so today, we are pulling back the curtain on a fortnightly night market festival held twice a month on the new and full moons, which is described by its producers as a witchy and weird shopping and social event. And if you're anything like me, that's super appealing. That celebrates the ambiance, the strange and unusual, the moon, and all the weird things people make and do. So it is so much more than just a pop-up. I feel like that description only scratches the surface a little bit. It is an inclusive and vibrant community of attendees who support each other both at the festival and online. And in the spirit of transparency, I should say that I worked many super fun nights at Lunar Faire, and I'm wearing my Lunar Faire shirt to represent.
Yeah, come back.
Yeah, we need you.
I wish I could. And so I am so excited to bring the creators of the fair, the Lunar Chicks, Tiff, Kelly, and Chrissy, on the podcast today. So ladies, welcome. Thank you so much for being here, and tell us where you are joining from and what got you into the events world.
Hi.
Hello.
Well, first of all, thank you for the lovely introduction. That's it's a great summary, and as somebody who was there, like, kind of, a lot of people are just like, oh, it's a night market, and there's a lot more to it than that, and so that kind of sums up why people are like, why are you even talking to these people? So,
Yeah.
So thank you for that, first of all. I'm Tiff, and we didn't really plan on getting into the
Hold on, we're in Fairfield.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Fairfield, we're in
That's
Fairfield.
where
We're at our
headquarters-
office.
Yeah, we have
See?
our office located
Pretty.
in
Lovely.
Fairfield. We have a warehouse out there connected to our offices where we keep our fair. So that's where we are. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Got-
actually an important point because I don't think people realize how much stuff you have to keep in
Oh,
order
a
to
warehouse.
create a festival.
Yeah, it's
Literally a warehouse.
a warehouse is worth.
Yeah.
We started with a storage unit's worth, and as we keep adding stuff and making the fair cooler, then you have, more things that have to travel on a truck to and from your home base. So we, in December, not last December, the one previous, that's 2022, we got the lease and we got rid of our storage space and we have the warehouse, and thank God, it's like
You should have seen that storage unit. It's just like everything was against the door as
It
you
was-
opened it. It was just
what nightmares are
chaos.
made of.
Yeah. Nobody
So,
wanted to look at it.
Thank God we kind of, did the grown-up thing.
We grew up.
We did.
You
got a space.
Little girls are growing up, Dora.
The Lunar baby chicks.
Right.
Now we're lunar chickens.
Lunar chicken.
Little chickens. All right, go ahead. I'm
Tiff,
sorry.
we interrupted you. Sorry.
No. It's just weird because we did not plan on having any kind of thing like a fair like that was this scale and an office and a warehouse. So it's still, I think, surprising to all of us that we do have like these grown-up things. Like, we really just kind of, when we were first chatting about a night market, just like having a night market, we're just like, like, we'll throw something in some abandoned parking lot. 10 vendors will show up. If we get 100 people that are probably related or friends with us, that'd be cool. And then we'll just have this weird part-time thing that we do. And since the first one, apparently there's kind of been like a hunger for something like this around here, and it's just grown exponentially. Like, we got we grew out of our initial venue. We rented it for 2 events. It was a beach in Oakland, and it had like a capacity of 550. We're like, ha, 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 we would never. And then by
We
the
did.
second one, they're like,
Yeah.
you need to
Yeah.
go.
They didn't even want us to come back to the
Yeah,
second
we're
one.
like,
Like,
no.
no. Already,
Yeah.
so they
Yeah.
pretty much had no choice at
Yeah.
that point. But it was in like a highly residential area.
Yeah,
and
the residents were
parking,
losing their
yeah, they were
mind.
definitely mad about it.
It
so.
was
Yeah.
crazy.
So then we had a third one in Ponton Lakes, and the second one that we paid for that time, they were too smart for us, and they fully kicked us out.
Gave us back our check. That's
Yeah,
what we should have
that-
done at the
yeah.
first place.
Yeah.
So the first 2 were June of 2021, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we had the one in July of 2021. So the
Mhm.
first 2 were in Oakland, New Jersey. Then we were in Pompton Lakes. Elks, we weren't actually in the Elks Club. We were in the field next to it. And then someone had made a really awesome TikTok that just kind of like blew up in between the first and the second. And that's like where things kind of started to go crazy for us, and where we're like, okay, no one wants,
Yep.
1,500 people parking in their streets when we were still at 1,500 people coming. And then,
Yeah. So by like our 3rd or 4th event, we had to learn very quickly that we have like a week and a half to find a new venue, get health permits, like parking. Like we were like, okay, we were like up all night. Like
It was a lot of scrambling.
it was
Yeah,
a lot of
that's
scrambling,
crazy.
and we still have to do it sometimes, like now, but
that's
not
just 'cause
as
we like the
bad.
thrill
But
of
we like
it.
the chaos and
brings
the
us back to
rain and
2021.
Yes.
but that
Sealed
was
days.
terrifying. We're like, how do we need a 4th thing? We have all these people coming now. We have this TikTok. Like, where are we gonna
Yeah.
have it?
Well, it was crazy because we ended up at Camp Sac, and that was August of 2021.
Oh,
So
favorite.
what it was is people are saying to us, you have to call Camp Sac, and because the owner of Camp Sac, James, he does the Ren Fair there, and we kind of have a crossover in our audiences with the Ren Fair audience. So they were telling him to call us while telling us to call him. So it just happened at like the perfect time that we all end up like getting in touch with each other at that point. And thank God, because
Yeah, we had our next 6 shows there,
Yeah.
right? Like
and then got kicked
Well,
out of there.
5 until we
So,
got kicked
yeah,
out
but,
again.
not because we're unruly.
Yeah,
Because
not
we're
bad
very
things.
perfectly nice ladies. I promise you. It's because people don't know how to park, and
Town, we were like closing off the whole like street. It was like a big main road.
It was a
and-
bit of a more conservative town, and they felt like they were staring down the barrel of this happening every 2 weeks
which
in their
they-
lives for the rest of
Yeah.
their lives, and they
Which they
kind of
were.
were.
So I mean,
Yeah.
I guess they did what they had to do.
The
so
mayor said that I
we
think
can't really
our
fault them.
our line of cars reached his house or something. He was like very mad at it.
Yeah.
Like it went just down main roads. It was
It looked like
kind of-
Woodstock for a second
Yeah,
there,
it was a
but-
lot. I get it. People were parking in people's like residential homes and stuff. It
Yeah,
was getting
yeah.
wild.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
gosh.
it was,
I didn't realize that.
Oh.
Dang. Well, what inspired you guys to create Lunar Fair? Like, I want to say your target audience is like weird and witchy people, right? But like, what made you want to start
Yeah.
it? Who did you think would be your target audience? Who did you think would show up? And
Oh,
and like
nobody.
this is kind of an alternative lifestyle, I guess, depending on who you
I
would
don't
ask, an
know.
alternative lifestyle festival, but it has mainstream appeal. Like you have a ton of people who love it.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like nobody, but why not everybody?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like, why not, but, Tiff has, read cards and, done more of the magical aspect of, life and those things. And she's like, hey, like, I saw this great picture of like Edison bulbs and like, it looked really cool, like to have like a nighttime fair. And I want to read some cards somewhere. So why don't we get this on and poppin'? And we were like, okay, let's get this on and poppin'.
She's been saying it for years, and she even told my mom to do it because she's like, I don't feel like doing that. Like, you do it.
She's
And
like,
my
"You
mom
Make
was
a
like,
place for me to read.
yeah.
that.
And my mom was like, oh, that seems hard. And then finally, Tiff just like
It's
did
like,
it.
We just have to do this.
And she's like,
do it.
what'll look stupid? Like what's like 15 vendors? Would we end up getting like 48 our first fair?
Yeah.
Like it was crazy.
I mean,
And
I
a lot
feel
of your
like
vendors love you that much too. Like they keep coming back.
they do.
Yes.
They like us.
they do.
I feel like we kind of, really went full press with it, like at the right time, because it was like, after COVID, people were stuck in their house. People were also like contemplating life and, like God and all this, which tarot and, crystals and like all that magical kind of stuff all does kind of link into that at the same time. So I feel like it all just kind of happened at the time that it should have happened, that maybe if we had done it, 3 years earlier, or, it would not have
We would have been like
as
canceled
highly-
because of COVID.
Right, right.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
that's true. Yeah.
wouldn't have been as, receptive to all of the things as they were after COVID.
Everybody
Like,
wanted to
what are you
get the
talking about?
fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
it's
guess
outdoors, so we still like kept
Yeah.
distance and
Yeah.
stuff.
we gave out masks at our first one.
We
It's pretty
did.
cute.
We had branded masks.
Yeah.
Cute.
I think for the marketing, we didn't really, like you said, kind of anyone and everyone. I think we were just like, I like the idea of it being a little witchy. Let's have like a group spell, but we don't want people to think it's only witches. So it's just like it's for anybody who is just not really trying to live that like super normie lifestyle. Normies are welcome. You're not
And
going
they
to be
come.
shunned.
They come.
But it's just like here's a nice place where you can just be a little fucking weird and
Yeah, I mean, you just have to not be a dick. I feel
Right,
like is
yeah.
don't be an
like,
asshole
yeah.
policy.
really, yeah, don't be an asshole. That's the policy. Adhere to that, and we love you. And that's, I think a
Right.
lot of what it comes down to is just come with an open mind, to treat people the way you want them to treat you, and have a good time.
Yeah. For our listeners who have not yet raced to look up Lunar Faire on Google, don't be an asshole
Yeah.
is literally on the website. Like that's literally a written policy.
Yeah.
Tiff wrote
Tiff has the best
yes,
contract.
she wrote the website copy. So when you need a chuckle, go read the FAQs because they're pretty funny. So.
We've had vendors be like, I hate reading contracts. I do not, but I look forward to reading your contracts because they're hilarious. And
Yeah.
insane.
I know. I love reading even like your Instagram posts because they're all hilarious. So yes, I assume it's Tiff who has the funny bone. Okay, so in the beginning, you already mentioned your biggest challenge was finding a venue because you guys went viral and there were so many people, and like I assume staffing. Like, what other things did you guys have to learn really quickly to make this happen every other week?
Definitely staffing.
Yeah,
And I was just
staffing.
talking to someone who helps us with the staffing today. It's like we have the fair when the moon is full and when the moon is new. It's not like a set day, every other, Saturday people can work there. You kind of just have to be, find people who have the flexibility to be able to come once every 2 weeks on some, random day. So I feel like that's definitely,
it's definitely people without jobs, like, or have like temp jobs or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard, but we've been trying to figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and we've
nice.
been actually like pretty lucky.
We've been lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have like a good, setup
4.
crew, and there's a good 4 people that
Yeah.
works for us. I mean, I would say staffing and also the end of the night, just breaking down, getting
Mhm.
stuff out of there. We get on site at 10 a.m. and the fair ends at 10 p.m. So that's a long day. And then once the fair ends, you have to pack up all of your merch, all of your tents, every single thing, lights, light poles. I can give you a list of 200 things that we have to make sure
Yeah, because
Yeah,
she's in charge
She
of
does
it.
it. Yeah.
that get back on that truck and come back to our fun grown up warehouse over here. So I think that just people are very tired at the end of the day. We're very tired at the end of the day. So over time we're getting better at it. We are able to have more of a process that is outlined, and that definitely makes it easier doing the same thing every time. So, and that's also I would say for us too is just coming up with those processes that work and holding on to them and making sure everybody is doing them. And the bigger we get and the more we do this, the more we need documentation and stuff like that. That's not very fun for my anarchist friend here. So
We're gonna have an anarchist who's good at contracts. Like, that
Yeah.
makes 0 sense.
That's true. I mean, so between the fairs, so it sounds like you're writing contracts, you're probably like trying to link up with vendors, you're looking for venues. Like what do you do on non-fair days? Are you mostly like office bound, except for when you're doing site visits? Like what does your non-fair time look like?
The office, sleep, and
You know, like a lot of the back end admin stuff is, I mean, for everybody listening, you know that organizing an event is just so much. Like you have all your major areas like you were talking about. Like we have vendors, we have to make sure all our permits. So like you have the venue end bullshit, whatever that is. You
health
have
permit.
the vendor end bullshit, which ours is huge because we do have, you know, like we have between 1 and 200 vendors per event. So I mean, there's 1,500 emails right there just for whatever day it is. And then, you know, you have the attendee end of things, which is marketing and you know, making sure everybody's aware. Getting information out there is really difficult. That's like one of the challenges that we have. Like we have, you know, thousands of followers on every platform. We have like a pretty good email list. And we just started a Patreon because like there's so many people who I can post 3, 4, 5 times a day and they'll still be like, when's your first one? Like there's just no way to make sure everybody fucking knows the information that they already want to know. So so that's a big challenge, I would say.
Also, to add to all the things that Tiff said, you know, usually at least half of our venues are new. So every time there is a new venue, we have to make a grid for the vendors. We have to decide where everything's going. We have to decide where, you know, the light poles are going to be, where the food's going to be. Like it's, you know, reinventing the wheel half of all of our shows because it's, you know, a new place that we've never been to. So, which also Tiff and I like physically go there and spray and mark and you know, put the letters out, you know, on the lawn the day prior so that, you know, we can get the vendors into the right spots and it looks cute.
Yeah. I
We
feel
all
like you guys
do.
could do like a crash course 101, follows you around with a camera all day.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not as exciting as it sounds, but it's funny. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's not
It's
true.
actually pretty funny. Like we all like, thank God we all like really like each other and love each other. Like we, you know,
Yeah.
have a fun time and joke around and,
Yeah.
you know, we're all like, just vibe in like, you know, and balance each other out in like the right ways. So like,
And that's
thank
like,
God for that. That's
thank
like a
God.
lot, I feel, of what like at least half of what our, you know, success as a company could be chalked up to that
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
really all, like work well together and like genuinely want everybody to do well and our company and ourselves. Like we all actually like really do care about each
and
other.
our
Like
vendors.
I love
Yeah. Yes.
Tiff and Chrissy, like they're sisters. They didn't get to choose, but
We
they-
chose you.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
We've
Stop.
absorbed you.
Yeah,
Whatever
you're lying to yourself. Okay,
I
you
think
don't get a choice.
that dynamic is also why we still do so much of the stuff ourselves. Still, we
Yeah,
really
we enjoy
don't-
doing it
we
together.
do enjoy doing it. Like
Hell else would I be
me
doing?
and Kelly are out there rolling the stupid wheel around. Like, I mean, there's still so much of it that we've just kind of, I think it keeps like this authenticity to it. And
Mhm.
also, I guess we're kind of maybe control freaks and won't
Like,
give up
let
a
anyone else
A
do
little
it.
bit.
of
Yeah.
it, but
But I mean, also, then we know what's going on. We know where there are problems. Like
Yep.
we know how to
Yep.
solve things. Like we know how the fair runs from the very beginning to the very end because we have done or still physically do all the things. I'm never
Yeah.
asking a person to do a thing that I don't know how to do or
Right.
I wouldn't do myself because
we've
I've
made every drink. We've taken tickets. We've
Yeah,
done
You've
we
jumped
worked
on
at the front
potions
gate.
when
done
you've had to.
every job. Like there's
We
nothing
sold
too
merch.
small.
We've
Yeah.
done all the things, like really. So
We've carried letters
And light
me
poles
less.
and light poles.
Yeah. Truly, I'm a witness to all of these things. It's all true.
you know we're not bullshitting. here.
Yeah.
No, not bullshitting at all. And honestly, Kelly, you were mentioning before the like closeout after the fair ends. It's already a long day. Like whenever people ask me about my most interesting or fun or vivid memories of events I've worked on, like I remember maybe the second Camp Sac one, where we had to pull off all of the slugs from the
Oh,
fridge.
my
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
listeners, there's something called a potions lab. There's 2 potions labs. Chrissy manages both of them. You know, as a team, you guys collectively, I guess, come up with the drinks, literally like test all the drinks. But because for health reasons, obviously, there needs to be a fridge. And Camp Sac is in the middle of the woods. There's no,
Yeah.
I mean, there's literally no light. There's like no electricity in most of the fair.
Our breakdown was totally dark.
Yeah,
It was
breakdown was pitch black on new moon nights.
car lights. Car
Yeah.
lights was what we had.
It's like, I think somebody at one point brought a headlamp. You know, I was like, that's really smart. We were carrying around our phones for light, and we removed this giant fridge. It's like the flip top fridge. I can't think of exactly what it's called. Like a deep freezer. Thank you. Yeah. The deep freezer from behind the potions lab building. And it was just covered in slugs. And we were like, what do we do? All we could do was pull them off because it has to go back to the storage unit.
And that's not even when you quit.
I know. You kept coming back.
Back after that, Tora.
I feel like we were trauma bonded after we had to peel off 20 slugs from that thing. So I couldn't leave you then. So I want to move on to talk about the community, because I think that the community is actually the most beautiful part about Lunar Faire. And there was one time, actually, I went to say hi to Chrissy that night. I went with a friend. I couldn't work that day, but I went with a friend because she had never been to Lunar Faire. I was like, I'm taking you. And when we sat down to watch the drag show, it's like the person next to me gave me like a little trinket, and she was like, you know, hi, my name is Sam. What's your name? And she was like, I'm handing out these things to my new friends. And I still have it. It's on my shelf over there. It's like a tiny little rubber snail. A little bit of a throwback to slugs, maybe. But
They knew.
I guess it all came full circle then. But yeah, so I have been an attendee as well and witnessed the beauty of the community and how kind people are to each other and how much they love being there and being there for each other. So I want to know how you guys see the community. And when you started it, did you expect for a community to cultivate itself like this? Because it seemed like it happened organically, not through like a whole lot of intervention from you all.
Everyone just did it themselves, kind of.
Really no, I can't stress enough how little expectation we had of
Literally.
this. Like, I mean, everything that happens or has happened with this is a surprise. And sure, I mean, you can sit around and dream about having a group of people like that just really are looking out for each other and can meet, you know, regularly and hang out. Like, yeah, but like, when's that going to happen? And it kind of just happened. And I think that people are so willing to be, you know, kind, because that's just sort of this vibe that's there. And you can just easily contribute to it when you know that's how everybody's hoping everybody's going to be. And I guess, I don't know if that's a good way of explaining it, but
I would say on the flip side too, one thing that I can always think of more is the type of person that doesn't go to Lunar Faire. I don't know if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, we're very open.
Yeah.
I don't want to like get into like political terms
Right.
like leftist, but
Yeah.
you know, whatever, like we are very open and accepting of people, how they want to be. You know, we want you to be happy. We want to be happy. That's that. When someone is coming into this space to try and prevent someone else from having the thing that fills their heart, they are like blocked. You know, they know they're not in the right place for that when they come to the fair. And I think that is also like a big part of it, is that the dicks don't come.
Yeah, I was gonna say, knock on wood, we
Yeah.
barely have had to like kick anyone out there. I could like count on my hands the
Yeah.
amount of like uncomfortable people that have come. Like they really
they don't want to be there.
We say the fair
fine.
like doesn't let them in. Like they don't come.
Yeah, the fair
Not
definitely has its own, you know,
It's
energy.
will and energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We've had like people come and go and we're like you're
Bear's done with
the
you.
fair's done with you. Like you've
I
had your
think Tiff
time.
says it perfectly when she says that it's open to anyone, but not for everyone.
Right.
And, you know, it kind of does just work, you know, I mean, and also like part of the community is the vendors. They are totally like some of them are so like ride or die, it's crazy. They're like everywhere. They are down for the cause. They're just cool. And like when vendors have problems, other vendors help vendors. When,
Yeah.
new people come in, like they are their own like community.
Yeah.
within
Weather-
the community.
Actually amazing.
Weather and tent
Yeah.
flying.
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
like they really are like a really good group of like people. And it's not often that you have like over 200 people who are fucking awesome in the same place, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but they really are just like a really good, group of people. And, the core people that, work for us also contribute to that really good, community that we have. So it's the people who show up, the people who sell, excuse me, and the people who set up the fair, everybody in their own way. They're just, very open, very nice, and they care,
Everybody's excited to be there for that day,
Yeah.
so it's just that transfers, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. How have you seen the community evolve over time, other than it like actually building?
That's a good question. I mean, I think that on our end, we started Lunar Care, which is like a mutual aid community resource for people. And I think that we're doing as much as we can to support the community. I think that people who vend, like I think that I can't say this for sure because I'm not a vendor, but I believe there is this sort of camaraderie between them, that they know if there's a Lunar Fair vendor, they probably could ask them, at another event or something for help, because they might be a little more, of that vibe. And I think there's sort of this sense of like, oh, if you're a Lunar Fair person, like you can, like I get stopped on the street if I wear my shirt, and there's like, like, oh, have you gone to Lunar Fair? Yeah. Me and Kelly kind of are like every one of them. Yeah.
Every single one.
I actually
Yeah.
wore my Lunar Fair shirt to a fitness class recently, and every girl in the class went, "Lunar Fair,
Oh,
we
yeah.
love it there." And I was like, I
Stop.
really am in like a good space right now. This
Right.
class is
Yeah.
meant to be.
I've
Yeah.
gone into like Sephora and they're like Lunar Fair.
It's like a code
stores.
word.
It's so weird. Like little famous in like North New Jersey.
It's like-
It's, if you know, you know.
Also, another thing I could say too is I feel that it kind of like represents people as being like, allies. If you aren't an LGBTQ plus person, and you aren't, a woman or a minority, you are supported at the fair. And I feel like that's also like a very deep part of like who we are as, a fair as well. And I think that maybe that wasn't as clear when the fair started, and it kind of just turned into that because
Yeah.
like I said, we just want everyone to like be happy, and people who have hit roadblocks of trying to be happy because other people don't want them to be happy get into a space where they're like, oh, these people just want me to be happy. I'll go here and be happy. So
Yeah.
I think we just kind of like turned into that. That wasn't necessarily like what we were trying to do, but we did kind of like, morph into that, which, is great. I think is fabulous. And I know they both agree. So
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, if we're facilitating that, it's just going to grow. So
Yeah.
What are some of the most valuable lessons that you've learned from creating and running this event?
Oh shit.
like just immediately sense
Embrace the chaos.
embrace the chaos. That's a good
That's
one.
our
That's
like
kind of our
slogan.
tagline.
Because there's a lot of chaos. There's weather. There's like people's tents literally flying through the air. Like
Yeah.
there's just
It's never really as bad as you think it is, right? Like one of the things that I've learned is that sometimes it's only bad because you're in your own head and you're freaking yourself out. And like no matter what, everything will at some point be okay. And I just feel that
it will work out.
yeah, I mean, and it always does.
Yeah,
Of course, knock on wood, like we're all
Yeah.
still here, so it keeps
Yeah.
working. Right? But I mean, I feel like, for me, that's, and for me as like a person, I try to be like more flexible. I'm a Taurus. I tend to
Mm-mm.
be stubborn and dig my heels in on things. So luckily, Tiff is like my sister sign. So she, kind of like pulls me, and I kind of like rein her in. So,
Yeah. We have a good
kinda works.
dynamic.
Yeah, it works. But, for me, like as a person, like, just to like be flexible and, go with the flow and just, it's like not the end of the world unless it is, and it has not been the end of the world yet. So
Right.
but soon,
But
maybe.
soon, 'cause it's
That's right,
earthquake.
yeah, I know.
I don't know.
We're just a couple hours from an eclipse. We
Still
just had an
that.
earthquake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's right.
And we just
Oh,
had a
yeah.
nice earthquake last week, so who
Yeah.
the fuck knows, but hey.
Yeah, I mean, and also just the idea that it's bigger than us. I mean, you can say the fair is, or you can say just life in general is, but you know, I just have so much faith in the like, you know, on a mystical level, the fair is its own entity, and you know, I think we're all grateful that we've, for some insane reason, been granted to be the stewards of this thing, and it's going to make its own decisions. So there's as much
Yeah.
planning as we want, like whoever we want to be there, like whatever we want to happen.
It
The
doesn't matter.
fair
It doesn't
has its
matter,
own
yeah.
step, and I know, like, you know, people say that spiritually with, like, you know, whatever creator or whatever, but that is really a like microscopic example of it just in our little realm. Like, so you only have as much control as you think you have. So that's been a big lesson for me too. And it's nice to let it go than just be like, you know what, this isn't my problem. Fine, fair, do it. Take the day off.
Obviously, you know, you want to plan, you want to have your permits in, you want to do the things, you want to have all the staff there, you know, you want to
Yeah.
do all those things, you want to cross your T's and dot your I's, but the important thing is being able to deal with that when, you know, at some point, one part of that process is going to get fucked up. You got to be able to, you know, deal with it and move on to the next thing and not like lose your shit on people because, you know,
Yeah.
you have to always like be respectful to the people that you're working with and that work for you. And that's like,
That's been a big thing.
yeah.
Problem solving has
Yes.
been like definitely
Problem
my
solving.
biggest thing learning is problem
Yeah.
solving. Like
You
when
know.
I didn't have a second permit in and then the health was like going to shut us down, you know, like it's like
Sometimes they
stuff
throw
like
out
that.
300 blood bags.
Yeah, yeah. Burlington
Yeah.
threw out literally 300 blood bags into a dumpster and watched us do it that we slaved over for like, I don't know how long, like a week. It was just crazy.
For listener
So-
context, a blood bag is is
Yeah.
a cranberry
blood.
lime juice
No,
that we call
it's
blood
when
bags.
I drain people. No, just kidding. It's
It's our super fun little Capri Sun pouch full
yeah,
of red
at the
drink
Potions Lab. Yes.
that is a big hit. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been crazy, but we've been, I feel like, learning a lot about ourselves and about the fair and just trying to figure things out as it goes.
Yeah, I mean,
Career
in
and
my
personal
past life,
development.
like I worked like as an office manager in like various, you know, places, and you know, I worked for like a lawn care company. I did like, you know, admin in a doctor's office. Like I've never been involved in this, and I know Chrissy and Tiff haven't. Like Tiff also comes from like an admin background. Chrissy helped her you know, husband launch his business that he has. So we all have kind of been in that like admin background. So just coming into here and just trying to figure out shit as we go along. And like I said, just be as low stress as we can about it.
Yeah. Well, Chrissy, that's actually a good point. I could probably interview your husband too, because he doesn't do events himself,
Yeah.
but like
Oh,
he is in
yeah.
the events industry. So let's talk about
Do
that.
it next month.
Tiff, I thought that you had been an event planner before this. Is that not right?
Yeah, okay, so like I've definitely done, yeah, I mean, I would never call myself an event planner unless I was lying on a resume, but I think that I've done, like, I worked with a cruise planner. My aunt is a cruise planner, so I put like a little festival on there, and so I've done little things like one-off, like, but yeah, it's not at this level. It's nothing, nothing like, so maybe I had a little bit of the, you know, like it's really, you know, anybody can hop into event planning who is like, and not to undermine everybody listening like that. I'm
You're
trying to
all
do that.
beautiful and
You're-
special, and we
yes,
love
no,
you.
it's very, it's a skill set, but if you kind of have an organizational skill set, you can move into it if you want to. And that's sort of like, you know, as insane and like hot mess as we are, we're still weirdly organized people, so we're able to do both of it. Like, I mean, we kind of we kind of sometimes joke about how we're kind of like the dive bar of like fairs, because like, you know, we're still just a little gritty. So
Yeah.
but that's, you know, we're weird. Don't expect more.
I've got just a couple more questions for you.
Yeah.
I would love to know, how do you even budget for something like this, especially in the beginning
This
when
one.
you didn't
We
when you didn't know who
We
was
get yelled
coming.
at by Kelly on a probably daily basis.
I
Our cards
mean,
get locked.
So, I mean, I'm like, you are spending nothing this winter. Card
Fun.
I mean, it's just so now we're kind of to a point where we have like leveled off. So now it's easier to base what we need based on the previous, fairs, and in particular when we're at venues that we've been at. So that's not so bad. It's when we first started, it really was like quite hell because every time, you know, you are getting more people and then you need more potions, but then it's like a delicate balance of like, overbuying and then,
Then
not
I overbuy
buying,
and then
like,
those
enough.
people don't buy butterbeer this time. And it's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
okay, we have 4,000 cans of butterbeer to put back on the truck. And it's like,
It's just like a lot of looking at numbers and trying to find like a happy like middle ground, which like I said, when it's venues that we've been to and play, and like we have similar ticket sales, it's not that bad. But when it's like a new place or all of a sudden we just like have a show that happens to fall on like, Labor Day and no one shows, so there's like the one-offs, but we're pretty level going through last year. We kind of have a feeling this year might be like a little higher on the scale.
hopefully.
Well, because of
So-
this podcast, probably.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Everybody's
You're
gonna
blowing
come
us up,
scope us
Dora.
out.
At what
But-
point were you guys able to like quit your day jobs and just do this?
Immediately.
I started off without a day job, so
Excellent.
Stay at home.
Well, I
mom.
guess well, I guess that's you kind of need that because it takes so much time to plan for something every
It's
2
like
weeks.
3 months for me. So
Yeah.
I was working for a doctor's office doing like 32 to 35 hours per week. And, I have like a whole gaggle of, kids at home and I was doing the fair and I'm like, one of these things has to go. And I really love my kids.
I was like family.
And we're like,
family.
yeah.
They're like, "We don't need those kids." No, but so then like at that point I would say at like in August I put my notice in because I couldn't there was not enough time in the day.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
working her to the bone.
The whole summer we were like
I was
site
like, "It's a
visiting.
new night, I'm
Yeah,
not in
yeah.
Moses. I gotta get up in 3 hours to go to work." I'm like, I like cannot do this. I
Yeah.
will die. But so I would say probably about 3 to 4 months for me.
Yeah.
And if they had jobs, it would have been the same.
Yeah.
Stay at home mom.
Yeah.
But I did have a newborn that I trekked around.
Mhm.
My little baby saw a lot of different places.
She
I was
went
just
to
a
many
dirty
venues.
Yeah. I was just a dirty unemployed, so
She's like, we're like, I guess you have a job now.
I was
She's
like,
like,
oh
"Fuck."
yeah, damn.
You went from being unemployed to being super overwhelmingly busy though, because this is like not
Yeah.
very,
a small
very
thing.
employed.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, yes,
Like she can
very
never
employed.
be unemployed again.
No,
This
it's
is
like-
forever.
The reason why this works for Tiff, and I, correct me if I'm wrong, which I probably am, but it's because she loves it so much, right? There's no world where she would dedicate and have this much passion for something that she was doing for, some other company.
There's no
She-
corporate
No,
job that she'd
no,
ever
no.
have.
Right.
And I
That's
think
why
that-
she was like, I can't do anything else. Like,
And-
this sucks.
Yeah, I would never put this, like, no offense to any of the people that I, used to work for, but I would never, attack something with this much love and passion.
Yeah.
Right.
If it weren't, what the fair is, and also owning it, and being responsible for
I was like,
it.
I'm never gonna go to work again. Till now I do.
I guess.
I guess it's like,
Yeah, we
Cool.
actually really do have I can't believe we get paid for this job,
Mhm.
so it's pretty sweet. And we're very, very grateful.
Thank
Like
God.
definitely, like there's we don't
We're such big assholes.
Uh,
And for something that's good to happen. to
Yeah.
us,
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we're like, who
oh,
actually gets their
thank
dream
you,
job? That's
whatever.
weird.
Okay.
That's true. That's
Yes,
true.
we do. What do we do? I don't.
I wish I could quit my job and just work with you guys.
I know. We
It's
do
so much
too,
fun.
Nora. We
Yeah,
do too.
Dora, we want you
Come
back.
on.
I'm buying all of the big lottery tickets, guys. Someday.
Okay.
Someday it'll happen. I won't have to work. Okay, so I'm down to our final and closing question. So what's the coolest event that you guys have ever been to, either as an attendee or a producer? In this case, you produced
Oh,
Lunar
God.
Faire,
Yeah.
but any other events that stick out in your mind, or any
Lunar
Lunar Faire
Fairs.
events that
Yeah.
you were like, this was amazing. We're wild.
Well, I would say the coolest event that I went to, not Lunar Fair, is I was 5 years old. I went to go see Willie Nelson with my dad at Waterloo Village. Fun times. It was a very
Cute.
little kid, had fun. Also went to, concerts at Waterloo, no, there's a Walmart there now. Suntan
Suntan
Lake.
Lake.
So that was, fun times when I was younger. But I mean, I had kids young, so I never really got out of the house much. So that's not a good question for me. But I would say the best Lunar Fair, honestly, like one of my favorites was the first AC Lunar Fair.
Yeah.
It was a great
That's hard
time.
top.
Lots of people came. It just looked great, like the moon
That was our
over
most
the
ever, right?
hotels. Yeah, like it just, it was like actual fucking magic. That
Yeah.
was like one of my favorites.
I would have to say, besides Lunar Fair, I was like 12 years old and my sister like put me in a car and took me to Gathering of the Vibes, which I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's like a crazy big hippie
It's not a
festival.
thing anymore.
And I don't know, where is it?
It was in Connecticut. Yeah, it was in Connecticut.
And she's like, here's a hippie dress. We're gonna be selling these. And I just was like, okay. And I was at this festival for like 3 days. It was like rainy and muddy. She's like, there's no showers, there's nothing. Like, enjoy this time. But it was wild and crazy, and I was so young.
Don't eat anything.
Yeah,
anyway,
don't eat
this year.
anything. There were like nitrous balloons. She's like, don't take the balloons. It's not for
It's
kids.
not a party.
Yeah.
They're
It was
like
just-
10, Tiff is
yeah.
10 years older than Chrissy, so this happened. Chrissy
And
was
somehow my
12,
parents
but
were like, sure.
Tiff was 22.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. So Tiff has taken me to a lot of like wild and crazy festivals. So for her to own one now is very fitting. But I would also have to say my favorite was probably AC
And the first
Lunar Fair
Burlington was
and
fun time.
and Jungle. I'm like Jungle's my
Yeah.
favorite. Oh, Camp Sack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Camp
Camp
Sack was
Sack is very
magical.
magical.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's too many to count, but
No, I would say
That's
AC,
me.
like if I had to pick one.
yeah.
All right, Tiff, let's hear your. curious.
I know.
I kind of spent a lot of time doing dead shows and fish shows and stuff. Like I did some like mini tours and stuff. So as you could hear, I've sold a lot of stuff. I was a little shakedown girl. So all of those added to my, kind of like experience of going out and seeing how events are like produced. I loved festivals a lot too. I think maybe Rothbury, which is kind of turned into Electric Forest, is a good one because it was a little bit, I think it's evolved a lot more now, and I actually would like to go back, but we have a conflicting event. So I can't go this year at least.
When
But
is that in October?
it's in June.
Oh,
And it's hard to
no.
get tickets,
June's
but
hard.
but yeah, I think that just kind of all of those things combined have added to that's probably one of my favorites, like just being able to go to a few like fish or dead shows in a row, or the Rothbury, like that's stuff where you see a lot of like creative production. Like there's like lighting in the trees, and they set up all these fun experiences. Like, oh, if I had a budget,
Yeah.
it would be crazy. But I think I would have to agree with theirs. Those are kind of top three: Atlantic City, Burlington one, and Camp Stack. Like those are. I do like a Sussex though. I mean,
I know,
To set
Sussex
up
is
'cause there's
favorite.
plugs everywhere.
yeah,
That's my
it's-
favorite.
it's
And we have a
nice
giant disco
to-
ball.
when it's
Yes.
like when it's a hometown. It's like kind of our hometown venue, just because we're really, we're familiar with. We get along great with the venue owner.
Shout out Mike
and-
Richards.
Yeah, and
We love
we just know the layout so well. It's sort of like when it's like secondhand, you can just kind of relax that day a little
Yeah.
more.
We're like, oh, we could sleep in a little
Yeah,
today because it's
it's
Sussex.
But if I were to count to three and we would say our least favorite show, I think we'd also the same thing. Would you guys?
Hold on.
Oh,
No, tell me.
You really?
I don't know. You're drawing a blank.
I'm drawing a blank too.
Tell me.
What's your least favorite? I'll count to three.
My least
You have
favorite
it?
venue, or is it the show itself
Whatever.
that sucked?
Whatever.
God.
All right. I'll say I think it's Waterloo.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That,
Yeah.
I think that goes without
That was-
saying.
yeah, that's
that was
just
torture. That was
the
mud
worst.
pit from hell.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
When I die and go to hell,
Car-
it's
yeah.
that weekend
Yeah.
over in Waterloo.
Cars were just stuck in mud, like hundreds of cars. Like it was just,
Had it
crazy.
rained right before?
Yeah. For
it
2
rained
weeks
for 2
straight.
weeks straight,
So
and then
the
we had a
fields were
2-day
dry.
Halloween weekend, and we thought it was gonna destroy us, honestly.
Yeah,
We
we
thought
brought
it was
in-
the end of our PR.
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah. It seemed really bad.
PR
Like
nightmare.
there was cars waiting for like hours, and the crew that we brought in was just new crew that we'd never worked with who were actually terrible
They were
humans
horrible.
as individuals. And good luck on that karma. But
Yeah.
it was really, really just bad. We had bad support, and we had it was just a nightmare. It was a nightmare. And it was 2 days of a nightmare. It wasn't just one.
Yeah,
And we
thought
have
it was
not
2
done that
days.
again.
I actually slept there.
She got a camper.
overnight,
Yeah.
and woke up in hell still walking around in mud.
Just mud and
Yeah.
like, oh, I need
dirt.
coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, that was our first year that we
Halloween,
did the fair.
yeah.
So I mean, we
We were still babies, still
yeah, we're
chicks.
still learning.
And
chickens,
Tiff to this day still tries to push Waterloo venue, and Kelly has PTSD.
I've forgiven
We'll
that.
see if we're back, guys.
Or no? Hard no.
But I am
Yeah.
not fucking forgetting, okay? I will not forget.
Oh my gosh, I could talk to you guys all day long. And I feel like we're gonna have a part 2 next year. maybe.
Yay.
But thank you so much for
Yeah,
being
thank-
on and for
Thank you,
giving us your
Dora. We love
time.
you. Miss you.
Yeah.
You don't
Aw,
have
miss you
any
guys
weekends
too.
available?
Yeah, come on, man. Come back.
427, it's a Saturday.
Come on.
Come on down.
I'll talk to you offline, Chrissy. I'll tell you what's going on.
We love
So for
you.
people who want to learn more about Lunar Faire, where can they go for information?
Lunarfair.com. We're at Lunar Faire or Lunar Faire NJ on all our socials. We have a Patreon now also that's going to give you all the information in one place.
Yeah, and secret beginner stuff. I mean, if you're like a member, you get a little,
Yeah.
little fun stuff.
Even free members.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
yeah. Thanks
Well,
so
thank
much.
you.
Nice to
And
meet
thanks
you
to our listeners and Meeting Protocol fans for checking out this episode. Don't forget to go to meetingprotocol.org as well, where you can sign up for the newsletter that includes links to all of our podcast episodes, a CMP tip of the month, and tons of resources for everything related to meeting professionals in CMP. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Thanks.